In 2022, Sam Elliott said 5 words that ended his career. He called an Oscar-winning film a piece of ... and mocked the actors in it. Within 48 hours, 50,000 people signed a petition to get him blacklisted. Studios dropped him. He broke down crying on camera and admitted he was in therapy, but the damage was already done. Now at 80, he's back to doing car commercials and working in the Texas heat until he collapses. What really happened? And why is Hollywood's toughest cowboy suddenly so desperate for work? Today, we're revealing what Sam Elliott never wanted you to know. Samuel Pack Elliott was born on August 9, 1944 at exactly 3:47 a.m. in Sutter Memorial Hospital in Sacramento, California. He weighed 8 pounds 2 ounces. His arrival came just 3 months before the Battle of Leyte Gulf, placing him at the very end of the war baby generation. That summer, the hospital was packed with births as soldiers came home on leave. His mother, Glennie Sparks Elliott, had once been the Texas state diving champion 3 years in a row from 1938 to 1940, diving off a 10-meter platform by age 16. She had met Henry Nelson Elliott at a USO dance in El Paso in 1942, and they got married after just 6 weeks. Official records from Sacramento County list Sam as the 2,847th baby born at Sutter Memorial that year during a time when California was exploding with new families, gaining 3.7 million residents between 1940 and 1950. Henry worked for the U.S. Department of the Interior as a predator control specialist, a job that meant tracking and eliminating threats like wolves, coyotes, and mountain lions across a 47,000-square-mile stretch of Northern California. In 1945, his annual salary was $2,100. He covered distances of up to 200 m each week, usually on horseback, through remote and sometimes dangerous terrain. The Elliott family could trace its Texas roots all the way back to Dr. Amos Pard Elliott, who served as a field surgeon during the 18-minute Battle of San Jacinto on April 21, 1836, treating 11 wounded Texans, including Sam Houston himself. That medical bag with its bone saws and laudanum bottles stayed in the family until 1944 when Henry sold it for $87 to help cover Sam's birth expenses. In 1946 alone, Henry killed 127 predators and was awarded a federal commendation. Because of his job, he was often gone for 10 days at a time. Sam got used to growing up without seeing his father much. From age 2 to 8, Sam lived in 7 different towns across California: Modesto, Stockton, Fresno, Bakersfield, Reading, Eureka, and finally back to Sacramento. These moves were short. 6 months in Modesto, 14 in Stockton, 8 in Fresno, 11 in Bakersfield, 13 in Reading, 7 in Eureka. Because of all the shifting, Sam ended up going to 4 different elementary schools, never staying long enough to form lasting friendships. But when summer came, Henry would take Sam with him on horseback. At age 4, Sam rode in a special saddle strapped to a quarter horse named Dusty on 12-hour rides across the Sierra foothills. By age 6, he could identify 23 different animal tracks and recognize the calls of 31 bird species. One trip in July 1950 stuck with him forever. Near Lake Tahoe at 6,200-foot elevation, a 400-pound black bear crossed their path. Sam sat completely still for 47 minutes while Henry fired warning shots. The bear finally walked away. That moment stayed in Sam's memory and built the calmness under pressure that later became his trademark. Glenn Elliott was just as intense at home. After scoring a perfect 10 from all 7 judges at the 1940 Texas State Championship with a reverse 2.5 somersault, she retired from diving at 18 and poured her athletic drive into raising her son. By 5:30 a.m., Sam was up doing 50 push-ups. Then came a 2-mile run around McKinley Park. Swimming started at age 5 at Sacramento's municipal pool, where Glenn made him swim 500 m, 20 laps, daily. She kept time for everything. Breakfast had to be eaten in 8 minutes, homework done in 45, teeth brushed in exactly 3. If he disobeyed, the punishment was physical. 100 jumping jacks or 200 sit-ups. By age 8, Sam could swim 1,000 m without stopping. Glenn logged his progress in a leather-bound notebook, writing down every time, every distance. The discipline didn't break him, it built him. From 1951 to 1957, the Elliots lived in Del Paso Heights, a working-class area of Sacramento, where the average household income was around $3,400. Sam attended Will C. Wood Elementary, then Kit Carson Junior High. He was fast. In 6th grade, he set a record of 11.2 seconds in the 100-yard dash and jumped 18 feet 4 inches in the long jump. Acting showed up unexpectedly when the lead in the school's Tom Sawyer broke his leg. Sam learned 47 lines overnight and took the role. 312 parents were in the audience, and when it ended they stood and clapped. Mrs. Helen Kozlowski, his drama teacher, wrote in her notes, "Samuel possesses unusual stage presence for his age." His parents didn't care much for that. Henry still wanted him to join the government. Glenn thought he'd be a better athlete. But that same year, Henry was promoted and the family moved again, this time to Oregon. His salary doubled to $4,200. That move changed everything. In 1957, when Sam was 13, they left California for good and settled in Northeast Portland. The weather was gloomy, the skies heavy, and Sam felt out of place. At first, he went to Madison High School, but later switched to David Douglas High School, where he'd finish. The isolation from his Texas family didn't sit well with him. He missed the sun and the space. Those wide landscapes were already embedded in him, and that disconnect, that homesickness only grew stronger. But the idea of the cowboy, the drifter, the man alone in big places, it started forming then. At David Douglas High, he ran track. Hurdles were his thing, and he played football, too. He sang, voted Best Male Vocalist in 1962, and Best Class Personality as well. The stage came calling again when he played the lead in Our Town his junior year. The voice already deep filled the room. People listened. He graduated in 1962, dreaming of running for Bill Bowerman at the University of Oregon. He wanted to be one of the men of Oregon. But that's not what happened. He enrolled that fall as a double major in English and psychology. The dream was still alive, but his attention was already elsewhere. "I had visions of being a man of Oregon, but didn't have what it took," he later said. "I wasn't academically inclined." What he really wanted, even if he didn't say it clearly yet, was movies. Not just acting, movies. He became obsessed. Grades collapsed. After just 2 terms, he was kicked out. "I came down here, messed around, and got booted out," he admitted later. College felt like a dead end. Hollywood was pulling him, even if it made no sense. In 1963, he transferred to Clark College in Vancouver. It was a turning point. There he found theater, and it found him. He played Big Jewel in Guys and Dolls. And a local critic from the Vancouver Columbian said Sam Elliott should pursue acting professionally. That changed everything. He stayed active in sports, ran relays, and even got crowned King Cupid at the Valentine's Ball in 1965. He finished with a 2-year associate degree, the first time he completed anything in higher education. For once, someone outside his family said he had something special. He went back to the University of Oregon, tried again, and even pledged Sigma Alpha Epsilon. But that same year, tragedy came fast. His father died of a heart attack at 54. It happened in the living room in his wife's arms. Sam was still just 18. "That killed me," he said years later. Henry had never believed in Hollywood. He wanted Sam in uniform or the Interior Department. But now the man who stood in the way was gone. Sam dropped out of school for good. Acting wasn't a dream anymore. It was the plan. In 1967, Sam packed up and moved to Los Angeles. He had $300 and not much else. He worked construction on skyscrapers, 12-hour shifts, hanging steel on the Bunker Hill redevelopment. He earned $215 an hour and lived in a $85 a month apartment filled with roaches. Hands torn up from steel work covered in cement dust. He went straight to acting classes at the Pasadena Playhouse. Sometimes he fell asleep during scenes. His roommate later said he cried himself to sleep more than once, wondering if his father had been right. The turning point came in 1968 when he joined the California Air National Guard. He served in the 146th Airlift Wing. It wasn't about flying C-130s or military life. It was about who else was there. Stuntmen, grips, camera operators. Major Robert Sterling, his commanding officer, had been an actor and introduced him to people. Fellow guardsman Tommy Lee Jones became a close friend. He studied Stanislavski between flights, kept planes running, and lived off $63 monthly. But now he had a foot in the door. His film debut was Blink and Miss. In 1967, the Way West gave him one line which he forgot 3 times while filming. Kirk Douglas pulled him aside and said, "You've got the look, kid, but learn your lines." He was paid $55. His face shows up for 18 seconds. The film lost $2.8 million. He kept the call sheet anyway. 8 months later, still jobless, he returned to construction. Then came Gunsmoke in 1969. 1 episode, 1 ranch hand, 4 lines. He kept track of 347 auditions that year in what he called his rejection diary. Bonanza told him to shave his mustache. He didn't. It became his signature. He made $350 on that episode. James Ons barely looked at him. His best scene was cut. Still, it aired. That was enough. In 1972, he landed his first lead in Frogs, a horror film about killer amphibians. Paid $7,500. It nearly broke him. He got bit by a water moccasin, used his own clothes, drove himself to set. Critics hated it. Ebert said he was wooden beyond belief. The film made just $850,000. His agent dropped him. At 28, Sam Elliott stood at the edge of Hollywood, humiliated, broke, and nearly ready to quit. Only his wife, Catherine, believed he had more in him. In 1969, a 24-year-old Sam Elliott appeared for just 47 seconds as a background butterfly in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It was an uncredited part easy to miss. But what makes that moment incredible is something Elliott only found out years later. While he was filming that tiny scene, Catherine Ross, who played at a place, was shooting her own scenes 3 sound stages away on the same Fox lot that exact same week in March. On March 18, both of them had lunch at the studio commissary, sitting just 20 feet apart. They didn't speak, didn't meet, and had no idea their lives would eventually collide. The twist. Elliott was originally supposed to have a longer scene with Ross' character, but it got cut during editing. That deleted scene could have introduced them 9 years earlier. Elliott once called it fate's most expensive joke. From 1970 to 1971, Elliott showed up in 4 episodes of the Mod Squad as Deputy Wade Preston. He was earning $750 per episode while the average American salary at the time was just over $6,100, but he quickly realized he was being boxed in. Over 6 months, he got 23 similar offers to play lawmen or deputies. His agent even told him casting directors were now requesting the Sam Elliott type. Then came the big one. Universal Studios offered a 3-year deal worth $45,000 to keep playing similar roles across their shows. Elliott turned it down. Instead, he took a construction job in Malibu for $200 a week. He told TV Guide, "I'd rather pour concrete than play another deputy who says yes, sheriff for the rest of my career." That decision nearly emptied his bank account, but it saved his future. In 1976, everything changed with Lifeguard. Elliott, then 32, the same age as the character he played, had to stay in top shape for the shoot, working out 4 hours daily for 3 months before cameras rolled. The story followed a man reckoning with the passing of time, and Elliott's performance hit a nerve. In one unexpected moment where his character silently stares at his own weathered hands, Elliott had gone off script during the 23rd take of what was supposed to be a basic dialogue scene. Audiences didn't expect such rawness. Even the moment where he broke down crying while applying sunscreen caught people off guard. The film only made $3.20 $2 million. But within 48 hours of its Los Angeles premiere, Elliott's agent received 127 new calls. Critics praised him for pushing past cowboy cliches and showing vulnerability, and that role directly led him to A Star Is Born. 2 years later, Elliot's voice opened new doors. In 1978, he was hired for Cosby's Silver Bullet campaign, earning $50,000 per 302 spot. At the time, the average American home cost less than that. Over 14 months, Elliot made about $650,000 from the campaign, more than everything he had earned in his acting career combined. He recorded the ads at a studio in Denver and usually nailed them in one take. Coors offered him a full-time deal, $75,000 per year, to move to Golden, Colorado, and be their in-house voice. He even toured the breweries and looked at homes nearby. He came close to saying yes. "I was so broke and tired of struggling," he said later, "that a steady paycheck at a beer company seemed like heaven." But he stayed in Hollywood, and those commercials turned his voice into part of American pop culture. That same year, Elliot landed a role in the horror movie The Legacy, filmed in England. He stayed fully in character throughout the 6-week shoot, even during lunch. He'd interrogate crew members about hauntings on set and refused to break from his paranoid persona. One day, while doing a stunt that required his character to injure his hand, he actually used a real knife and cut his own palm. Catherine Ross, his co-star, initially thought he was overdoing it. But when he showed up at her hotel room at 2 a.m. talking about protecting her from a curse, she saw something else. Dedication. That's when their real-life relationship started. In 1985, Elliot and Ross were on their honeymoon in Hawaii when director Peter Bogdanovich called about Mask. Ross told Elliot to take the role. It was originally written as a generic biker character, but Elliot helped shape it into something more layered. To prepare, he spent 3 days with Hell's Angels in Oakland. The risk worked. He got his first Golden Globe nomination and earned $300,000, which allowed them to buy their Malibu ranch. Motorcycle clubs even invited him to rallies after the film came out. When he married Ross in May 1984, the timing was chaotic. She was still dealing with a messy divorce from her previous husband, who demanded $50,000 monthly in alimony and accused her of violent mood swings. The tabloids ran wild with it. The National Enquirer even paid for dirt on her and Elliot, leading them to hire private security for the wedding. Only 12 guests came. The honeymoon was supposed to be secret, but paparazzi found them 3 days later. The divorce wasn't finalized until August, which technically made their marriage legally questionable for a few months. Elliot lost 15 pounds from stress and even considered quitting the industry altogether. Their daughter Cleo was born on September 17, 1984. She weighed 7 pounds 3 ounces. Elliot refused to sell any baby photos, even when offered $50,000 by magazines. In 1986, their nanny sold private family photos for $10,000 to the tabloids. The betrayal hit hard. Elliot sued, installed a $75,000 security system, and started paying staff 50% more just to ensure loyalty. Cleo didn't appear in public until age 16. Elliot admitted later that he became paranoid and guarded after that betrayal. In 2015, Sam Elliott was 71 when he showed up in the last season of Justified. He played a strange avocado farmer named Josiah Carr who was secretly running a marijuana business. Sam didn't just want to pretend. He wanted real plants during rehearsal. One day in February, a crew member who didn't know the full story saw something shady on set and called the cops. That caused a scene, but it also brought attention. His role only lasted 4 episodes, but every one of those pulled 2.8 million viewers. It was his most watched TV work since Hulk. His quiet, scary lines about farming and violence started spreading on Reddit, and Variety even called his acting menacingly understated. That one job reminded everyone in Hollywood that Sam could still play dark roles. Netflix noticed and reached out quickly for something new. In 2016, when Sam was 72, he became the lead on The Ranch, playing Bo Bennett, a tough old cowboy dad next to Ashton Kutcher. It was his first lead role in a comedy, and it ran for 80 episodes over 4 years. Sam made around $150,000 per episode, which added up to about $12 million. Behind the scenes, things weren't always smooth. Sam liked to improvise rough jokes full of curse words, and Ashton didn't like that at all. He preferred sticking to the script, and Sam admitted in 2018 that he purposely messed with Ashton during scenes. Still, the show pulled in 3.1 million viewers every episode and became Netflix's longest-run multi-camera sitcom. In 2017, Sam got a Critics' Choice nomination for the role, though he later said the work felt more tiring than fulfilling. In 2017, something more personal came out. Sam played a fading Western movie star in The Hero, a man diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and trying to reconnect with his daughter. That role hit close to home. Just a year earlier, in March 2016, Sam had emergency surgery for a serious stomach issue. Doctors feared it might be cancer. That scare inspired the director, Brett Haley, to write this role just for Sam. Sam's real wife, Catherine Ross, played his ex-wife in the film, and Laura Preppen played his daughter. The story felt real because behind the scenes, Sam and Ross had actually gone through a rough patch in 2015 and had briefly separated. The film had a small $1.2 million budget, but made $4.1 million and earned Sam an Independent Spirit Award nomination. Critics said he hadn't been this raw and honest since Mask in 1985. Then in 2022, Sam did something that shocked everyone. On Mark Maron's podcast, he tore apart the Oscar-winning film The Power of the Dog. He was 77 and didn't hold back. He said the movie was a piece of __, and mocked the way the cowboys looked, especially Benedict Cumberbatch in leather chaps. He made fun of a scene with Strauss waltzes and said it was that __, stupid singing. People were outraged. LGBTQ+ groups like GLAAD and the Human Rights Campaign slammed his words. Over 50,000 people signed a petition asking studios to stop hiring him. On April 10, 2022, Sam broke down crying during a public apology. He admitted he was going to therapy and said his words came from toxic masculinity. Jane Campion, the film's director, responded by saying Sam was a little bit of a __, but she handled it with grace. Back in 2018, before all that, Sam finally got the respect he had waited his whole career for. At 74, he earned his first Oscar nomination for A Star Is Born, playing Bobby Maine, the older brother and manager of Bradley Cooper's fading rock star. One of the most powerful scenes came on September 12, 2017. And Sam almost didn't make it through. His voice had given out and he told Bradley he couldn't do it. But after resting for 3 days, he pushed through and nailed the scene in one take. That role got him Oscar, SAG, and BAFTA nominations. He earned $700,000 and came within 12 votes of winning the Oscar, losing to Mahershala Ali for Green Book. The film itself made $436 million and became Sam's biggest box office success ever. When 1883, the Yellowstone prequel, came around in 2021. Sam was 77. He played Shay Brennan, a broken man leading a wagon train through the wild frontier. To prepare, Sam lost 20 pounds and pulled up memories of losing his father at 18. That grief came out in every scene. He even had panic attacks while filming his character's final scene in Montana. It took 2 days and 3 takes to get through it. The finale aired on December 19, 2021, and drew 4.9 million viewers. In 2023, Sam won a SAG award for the role. When COVID hit in 2020, Sam and Catherine Ross stayed in their Malibu ranch for 14 months. During that time, Sam started writing his memoir by hand. He filled over 400 pages. He kept going back to one regret from 1992 when he turned down the role of Little Bill in Unforgiven, which ended up winning an Oscar for Gene Hackman. Sam figured he had passed on 47 major roles during his life, either because of bad timing or disagreements with directors. While in lockdown, he got sick with a constant cough and had to go to the hospital in May 2020. It wasn't but it scared him. By the end of 2021, he stopped writing the memoir, saying it was too goddamn depressing. In 2025, at 80 years old, Sam took on another tough role. He played Monty Miller, the father of Billy Bob Thornton's character in Season 2 of Landman. They filmed in the brutal Texas heat, and Sam insisted on doing his own stunts. On July 12, he collapsed from dehydration during a 6-hour shoot in 107 degrees Maine temperatures. He had to get for fluids and filming shut down for 2 days. Even after that, Sam refused to rest in an air-and-conditioned trailer. He stayed in the heat to stay in character. He earned $350,000 per episode for this 8-episode run starting January 2026. In 2024, Sam returned as the voice of Dodge Ram trucks, reviving a deal that started in 2010. The new contract paid him $2 million a year. During a promo interview that August, he casually mentioned crashing a $150,000 Ram TRX during a test drive back in 2019. He had rolled it twice at 65 mph, but walked away unharmed. Dodge almost ended the partnership over the crash, but changed their minds, thinking it made him feel more authentic. He also narrated 3 short Dodge documentaries about ranch life and hardworking people, which pulled in 23 million views on YouTube by September 2024. His work in 1883 won him another award in 2022 from the National Board of Review. But when he applied for a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2024 for the 3rd time, he was denied again. The committee said he didn't have enough recent films. Sam had already applied in 2016 and 2019. TMZ leaked a 2024 email where Sam wrote he was being ignored for doing westerns instead of superhero movies. He was upset that actors with less experience were getting stars while he kept being overlooked. At 80, he was finally inducted into the Western Heritage Museum Hall of Fame in September 2024. People still spread rumors about Sam's health. Some even say he has Parkinson's, but in 2025, Sam shut it all down. He said clearly he doesn't have any kind of brain disease. The idea probably started after The Hero when people thought his acting seemed too real. His voice still sounds the same after all these years, raspy but strong. He does tilt his head sometimes and limps a bit, but that's from aging and an old injury where he tripped over a toy dog and broke his pinky toe. That limp made people think something was wrong. But doctors say he's fine and still active. In 2025, Sam and Catherine hit 41 years of marriage. He was 40 and she was 44 when they got married in 1984. Before him, she had gone through 4 divorces. Their marriage almost fell apart during the Hero days, but instead of walking away, they used the work to fix their issues. Sam says staying together is a choice you keep making even when things get rough. When Cleo had her breakdown, they chose family over image. That's what kept them strong. Even after everything, they never gave up on each other.